Today, I'm going to be taking the flavors of chicken fajitas and mixing them up with a Mexican-style sandwich to make a chicken fajita torta. If you've ever had chicken fajitas, that's basically what we're going to be having here, except in a sandwich form. Now you can see I have a half chicken breast here that's been butterflied and pounded out. You don't have to have it super thin. You want the same thickness across the entire breast as much as possible. It may not always be perfect. Now to this we're going to add a splash of olive oil, about a tablespoon of lime juice, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and this is a fine garlic powder. You can use granulated garlic if you don't really have the super fine garlic powder. About a teaspoon of Mexican oregano and a teaspoon of cumin. Then I'm going to add a pinch of cracked black pepper and a good shake of salt. Then just going to mix this up and massage it into this chicken breast when I get coated all over. Now if you have a different seasoning mixture that you use when you make fajitas, go ahead and use that. This is just one that we use. If you want a real shortcut, you could even get a package of like that taco seasoning and use that. Just add a little bit of olive oil and lime juice to give it some liquid in there for the marinade. So our chicken breast is ready to go into a plastic bag. It's going to go in the refrigerator for about an hour. And while it is in there marinating in these flavors, we're going to make a cilantro lime dressing, which is going to go on top of the sandwich at the end. So the cilantro lime vinaigrette that we're going to be putting on the top of this sandwich, we're going to be drizzling it on it when we assemble it, starts with a cup of cilantro. Just going to put that in our blender. About a clove of crushed garlic. That's maybe half a tablespoon if you're using small cloves. If you got a really big clove, a large one. 2 tablespoons of lime juice. Going to do a pinch of cracked black pepper, a shake of salt, and some of these flavors we'll be adjusting for at the end once we taste it. Going to do maybe a tablespoon of olive oil to start, and we're going to add just a squirt of agave. If you don't have agave, honey will work just fine. Just going to pulse this until we get it to the right consistency. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil here. Let's give this a little taste. Oh, that's nice, very bright, but I think I'm gonna add a little more salt to it. You can see that really bright green color in here from the cilantro. Now, if you have another sort of mixer or a small blender or something like that that you wanna make this in, go ahead. You could even just chop this up, mix it in a bowl, get it to your exact liking, flavor, consistency. This is just a drizzle we like to make to do things like this. All right, so I have the Weber kettle set up. I'm using the vortex inverted just to sort of contain the charcoal. You don't need to do this if you just want to put a pile of charcoal there. I want a little bit of direct, a little bit of indirect in here. I'm going to put my bun on here. This is a Tolera roll. You can use anything you want, but I like this. Just want to get a nice little toasting on the outside here. Nice little crust. That looks good to me. There we go. Get our chicken on here. Get it grilled up. So I butterflied this half breast and pounded it out. It's not going to take very long on here to cook. Now while this is cooking on here, I'm going to slide it over slightly because I want to start heating my little cast iron skillet. That's where I'm going to cook some onions and peppers for this torta. Let's give our chicken a turn here. Ah, nice color on that. While that chicken is finishing up there, I'm now going to get started on the onions and peppers. This is just a red onion and some red bell pepper. Love that sound of sizzling in the cast iron pan. Everything's coming along nicely. Now I know some people say never use a metal utensil in cast iron. I use metal utensils in cast iron. I'm careful with it. I'm not going to go scraping with it. Some people I've seen use those rubber tipped utensils in cast iron. I've actually done that and melted the tip of one because cast iron gets hot. Let's give our chicken breast a turn here. We're going to check that for temperature in just a minute. Let's see how we're doing. About 20 degrees more to go. We're going for 160, 165. But we're in no rush. We're letting these peppers and onions just sweat down a little bit. I'm not necessarily concerned about getting sort of a caramelization or char on these. I want them soft. Those fajita spices are smelling great coming off this chicken as it sort of chars right here. Oh. Now with the peppers and the onions in there, the only thing that was on that was a little bit of olive oil, no other seasoning. Let's give our chicken another little check here. 160. All right, we're gonna get this off and wrap it in some foil. Lay our chicken breast there. You're gonna wrap it up tight. Want to hold all those juices in there while we finish cooking the peppers and onions. Peppers and onions are coming good. Almost soft enough. Here's a quick little tip. If you're cooking in a cast iron skillet over charcoal and you want to hurry it along a little bit, just put a piece of foil over the top of it. Crimp it around the edges. Let's use gloves so you don't burn yourself, but this helps speed it along a bit. Let's see how our onions and peppers are doing. That's looking good. In just another minute and we'll be ready. All right, let's check our peppers and onions. Oh yeah, those are ready. All right, let's get these inside. Before we start assembling our torta, we've got one more thing to make, which is going to add a really nice flavor to this. What I have here is half an avocado. I've already sliced into the flesh, which just makes it easier to get the avocado flesh out, and we're going to get this into a bowl. Now to this, I'm going to add some salsa. You can use any kind of salsa you want. This is sort of a shortcut to guacamole. It's not guacamole, it's just a little shortcut to give you an avocado spread, and that's going to go on our bottom bun today. So we're just going to add a little bit of salsa. And I'm going to use a fork and mash this together. You can see how we're getting that guacamole consistency. You don't want to add too much salsa because you don't want this super wet. Just enough for flavor. Now you could season this to taste. I'm just going to add a little bit of pepper. There it is, our avocado salsa spread. Now let's get this torta put together. It is assembly time for this chicken fajita torta. First thing we're going to do is we're going to coat this bottom bun with a thin layer of the avocado salsa spread. Now I'm going to do that with the back side of a spoon. I'm not a big mayo fan, so this sort of goes in place of mayo on sandwiches sometimes. Time for the star of the show, the chicken fajita patty. Ooh, that looks good. I'm going to put a little bit of the cilantro lime drizzle on top of this chicken. Oh, look at this. I'm going to top it now with some of these peppers and red onions. The final touch is a sprinkle of cotija cheese. If you've never had cotija cheese, it's a soft, crumbly cheese, and it's got a very sort of salty flavor to it. Nice, good sprinkle on top. There, without the top bun, is our chicken fajita torta. It is tasting time, but I've got to show you this. I cut it in half. Look at that. Juicy, juicy, juicy. Oh, this looks good. All right, here we go. That avocado salsa spread on the bottom bun is killer. It is just amazing. Fajita flavors in a sandwich in this Mexican style torta. Everything works so well together in this. That lime vinaigrette has a real sort of brightness on top of this. Those peppers, the onions, There's that sort of inherent sweetness in those when you cook them in something like a cast iron pan, releases those juices, caramelizes them a little bit. I wasn't going for a lot of caramelization. I just wanted to soften them, but you still get some of that, and it goes so well with this. And you could do something similar to this using beef or shrimp or anything else that you would use in fajitas. I did a steak sandwich video that used flap meat before, which is a little similar in the way I prepared it. That was my carne asada steak sandwich, and I'll put a link to that. Another nice thing about this, if you're going to make this, is try and get a bun like this, which is very fluffy inside. When you toast it, though, you get that nice crust. It's not too crusty so that when you bite into it, it feels like it's exploding. It doesn't turn to crumbs. And when you toast it, you create that little layer which holds that avocado salsa spread so it doesn't just turn the bread wet. My wife is sitting over here laughing at me as I eat this. It's really good. So that's an extremely easy recipe. Took all of an hour to prepare, and most of that hour was spent with the chicken marinating in the refrigerator. You could make this chicken the night before, marinate a bunch of it, fire up the grill, grill up all your chicken, make a bunch of these sandwiches. Be great for a party for an afternoon barbecue. And don't hesitate to mix up the flavors. Try what you like. I used a red salsa in that avocado spread. You could use a green one. You could use anything. You could use straight guacamole. Add the flavors you like to this. That's the fun part of cooking, when you mix up and try new things. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to check out some of the other videos on my channel and consider subscribing. And if you do, click that bell for notifications. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you again soon.